Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the human flagship Terra's Pride. He watched through the main screen as thousands of ships floated around the massive council station. Today marked 5 years since humans joined the Galactic Council. The celebration was bigger than anything Jake had ever seen. The council station was huge. It looked like a giant wheel spinning slowly in space around the planet Kepler 442b. Ships from dozens of different alien species docked at its ports. Human vessels sat next to Zephyrian bug ships and Vorthan war cruisers. The sight still amazed Jake after all these years. "Captain, Ambassador Carter is ready to give her speech," said Lieutenant Mary Foster from the communications station. She was one of the best engineers in the human fleet. Her fingers moved quickly over the control panels. Jake nodded. "Put it on the main screen." The image changed to show Ambassador Lisa Carter standing at a podium inside the council chamber. She was a tall woman with short brown hair and kind eyes. Behind her sat representatives from all the major species in the galaxy. The Zephyrians looked like giant ants with 4 arms. The Vorthans were tall and thin like walking trees. The Aquilians had blue skin and large black eyes. 5 years ago, humanity took its first steps into the galaxy, Lisa began. Her voice was calm and strong. "We were afraid. We were alone. We did not know what we would find among the stars." Jake remembered that day well. He had been a young officer then. The first contact with alien ships had scared everyone on Earth. But the aliens had come in peace. They offered friendship and knowledge. They invited humans to join their council. "Today we stand as equals among the great civilizations of the galaxy," Lisa continued. "We have learned from you. We have shared our own knowledge. Together, we have built a better future for all." The alien representatives made sounds of agreement. The Zephyrians clicked their mandibles. The Vorthans rustled their leaf-like appendages. It seemed like a perfect moment of unity. On another part of the station, Dr. Ben Taylor worked in his laboratory. He was a short man with thick glasses who loved studying alien life. For 3 years, he had worked with Zephyrian scientists to develop new ways to make dead planets livable. His main partner was a Zephyrian named Clickstar. "The new algae strain shows promise," Clickstar said through its translator device. Its voice sounded like clicking insects. "Your human creativity adds much to our research," Ben smiled. "And your people's knowledge of biology is incredible. Together we can terraform worlds in half the time it used to take." They had already tested their work on 6 dead planets. The results were amazing. Plants grew faster. The air became breathable quicker. Water sources stayed clean longer. The project would help millions of beings find new homes. "I must attend the ceremony," Clickstar said, "but tomorrow we continue with the new soil samples." Ben nodded and watched his partner leave. The Zephyrian moved on 6 legs with quick, precise steps. Ben had grown to like working with aliens. They thought differently than humans. They saw problems from new angles. It made the work better. Across the station, Admiral Kate Phillips reviewed patrol reports in the military section. She was a tough woman with gray hair who had spent 30 years in space. Now she commanded the Joint Defense Fleet. Human ships worked alongside alien vessels to protect trade routes and explore new systems. "The Vorthan cruiser Strength of Unity reports all clear in Sector 7, reported Commander Ryan Brooks. He was a young officer with bright blue eyes and endless energy. "The human destroyer New Hope is joining them for the next patrol." Kate was proud of how well the joint patrols worked. At first, the different species had trouble working together. Their ships moved differently. Their weapons worked differently. Their crews thought differently. But over time, they learned to cooperate. Now the combined fleet was stronger than any single species could be alone. "Any word from the outer colonies?" Kate asked. Ryan checked his display. 3 settlements have not reported in for their scheduled check-ins. Colony ships Peaceful Valley, New Boston, and Green Fields. Kate frowned. When were they due to report? 2 days ago for Peaceful Valley, 3 days for the others. That's not normal, Kate said. The colonies were supposed to send reports every week. They never missed more than a few hours. Send the scout ship Frontier to check on them. Yes, Admiral. Kate turned back to her other reports. Space was dangerous. Equipment failed, storms happened. Pirates sometimes attacked small settlements. But 3 colonies going quiet at the same time worried her. She made a note to mention it to the Council Security Committee. Back in the ceremony hall, Lisa Carter finished her speech. The alien representatives stood and made their traditional gestures of respect. Everything seemed perfect. Humans had found their place among the stars. They were no longer alone. But as Lisa left the stage, her aide handed her a message tablet. The text made her blood run cold. It was from Earth Defense Command. The message was short, but frightening. Ambassador Carter, urgent situation developing. Multiple outer colonies have stopped responding. Strange energy readings detected near human space. Request immediate council assistance for investigation. Admiral Peterson, Earth Defense. Lisa read the message twice. Her hands started to shake slightly. She walked quickly to the council administrative offices. She needed to file a formal request for help right away. The Aquilian clerk at the help desk looked at her with large black eyes. What type of assistance do you need, Ambassador? Military and scientific support for a search and rescue mission, Lisa said. Several of our colonies have gone silent. We need ships and expertise to find out what happened. The Aquilian's skin changed to a darker blue. I see. This will require approval from the Security Committee, and the Exploration Committee, and the Resource Allocation Committee. How long will that take? Lisa asked. At least 2 weeks for proper review. 2 weeks? Lisa's voice rose. Our people might be in danger right now. I understand your concern, the Aquilian said, but its voice sounded cold. However, proper procedures must be followed. I will file your request immediately. Lisa left the office feeling worried. 2 weeks seemed like a very long time. Usually, the council moved quickly to help members in trouble. She wondered why this was different. On Terra's Pride, Captain Morrison received new orders. His ship was being reassigned to patrol duty near the council station. Other human ships were getting similar orders. They were being moved away from human space. Jake found this strange, but he followed orders. As Terra's Pride moved to its new position, he noticed something else odd. The alien ships were grouping together. Human vessels were being spread out, isolated from each other. Lieutenant Foster noticed it too. Captain, the fleet formation seems unusual. Jake nodded. Something felt wrong, but he could not figure out what. Everything looked normal on the surface. The aliens were still friendly. The cooperation continued. But small things were changing. As the celebration ended and the ships began to disperse, none of the humans knew that their perfect alliance was about to become their worst nightmare. Lieutenant Commander Ryan Brooks piloted the scout ship New Frontier through the dark space where Peaceful Valley Colony should have been. What he found made his stomach turn cold. The colony was still there, but it was completely empty. Ryan landed his ship near the main settlement. The building stood perfectly intact. No signs of battle. No burn marks from weapons. No broken windows or damaged doors. But not a single person remained. 3,000 colonists had simply vanished. "This doesn't make sense," Ryan said to his team as they walked through empty streets. "Where did everyone go?" Sergeant Amy Clark checked her scanner. She was a tough soldier with red hair who had seen many strange things in space. But this was different. "No bodies, sir. No signs of struggle. It's like they all just walked away." But Ryan knew people didn't just walk away from their homes, especially not all at once. He led his team to the colony's main computer center. Maybe the records would tell them what happened. The computers were still running. Power flowed normally. All systems showed green. Ryan accessed the colony logs and started reading. What he found made his hands shake. The last entry was from Colony Director Helen Wright. It was dated 3 days ago. "Strange ships appeared in orbit this morning. They don't match any designs in our database. The ships are contacting us now. They say they're here to help with a medical emergency. They're asking all colonists to report to the landing area for health screenings." Ryan scrolled to the next entry. It was only an hour later. "The medical team seems very advanced. They have equipment we've never seen before. They say there's a virus spreading through human colonies. Everyone needs immediate treatment. The whole colony is being evacuated to their medical ship for safety." There were no more entries after that. Ryan felt sick. He knew there was no virus spreading through human colonies. If there was, every ship captain in the fleet would know about it. Someone had lied to these people. Someone had taken them. "Sir, you need to see this," called Specialist Tom Garcia from across the room. He was a young tech expert who could make any computer tell its secrets. Ryan hurried over. Tom was pointing at a hidden scanner array built into the communications tower. It was not human technology. "This device has been recording everything that happened here," Tom said. "And, sir, it's been sending the data somewhere else." "Where?" Tom checked the transmission logs. His face went pale. "The signals went to ships, registered to the Zephyrian Science Division." Ryan's blood ran cold. The Zephyrians were supposed to be humanity's closest allies. Dr. Taylor worked with them every day. Why would they be secretly watching human colonies? "Download everything," Ryan ordered. "Every bit of data from that scanner, and check the other 2 colonies. If they have these devices too, we need to know." 3 hours later, Ryan had his answer. All 3 missing colonies had hidden scanners. All 3 had received visits from medical ships. All 3 had been evacuated for a fake virus emergency, and all the data had been sent to Zephyrian vessels. Meanwhile, back on the council station, Dr. Ben Taylor was having his own problems. When he arrived at his laboratory that morning, Clixitar was waiting with bad news. "I am sorry, Dr. Taylor," the Zephyrian said. "There have been changes to our research protocols. Some files are now restricted." Ben frowned. "Which files?" "All human genetic data. All terraforming research involving human biology. All studies of human adaptation patterns." "But that's most of our work," Ben said. "How can I continue the project without that information?" Clixitar's mandibles clicked nervously. "Administrative reorganization, new security requirements. I am sure it is temporary." But Ben could tell something was wrong. Clixter wouldn't look at him directly. The alien's usual confident manner was gone. After 3 years of working together, Ben knew when his partner was hiding something. "Clixitar, what's really going on?" The Zephyrian was quiet for a long moment. Then it spoke very quietly. "I cannot say more, but Ben, be careful. Some changes are coming that you may not like." Before Ben could ask what that meant, Clickstar quickly left the laboratory. Ben stared at the empty doorway. In 3 years, his partner had never called him by his first name. And the way Clickstar had said, "Be careful," sounded like a warning. Ambassador Lisa Carter was having an even worse day. She had spent the morning trying to get help for the missing colonies, but every office she visited gave her the same answer. The matter required investigation. Forms needed to be filed. Committees had to review the situation. Everything took time. "But our people are missing," Lisa said to Council Speaker Vorthun. The Vorthun leader was tall and thin with bark-like skin and glowing yellow eyes. "3 colonies have vanished. We need search ships immediately." "I understand your concern, Ambassador," Vorthun said. His voice sounded like wind through leaves. "But we cannot send military vessels based on incomplete information. Perhaps your people simply had communication problems." 3 colonies don't have communication problems at the same time," Lisa said. "Something has happened to them." "We will investigate thoroughly," Vorthun promised. "But these things take time. We must be careful not to create panic over what may be simple technical failures." Lisa left the meeting feeling frustrated and angry. The Council was supposed to help member species in trouble, but now they seemed more interested in bureaucracy than saving lives. She decided to contact Admiral Phillips directly. Maybe the military could act faster than the politicians. On the command ship Humanity's Sword, Admiral Kate Phillips was already suspicious. She had been watching fleet movements for the past week. Something strange was happening. Commander Brooks just reported in from the missing colonies, her aide reported. All 3 settlements were completely evacuated. No signs of battle. Hidden monitoring equipment was found at each site. Kate's jaw tightened. "Monitoring equipment from which species?" "Zephyrian, Admiral." Kate was quiet for a moment. The Zephyrians were supposed to be allies. They worked with human scientists. Their ships patrolled alongside human vessels. Why would they secretly monitor human colonies? "There's more, Admiral," the aide continued. "Our ships are being reassigned to isolated patrol routes. Human vessels that were working with alien partners are being separated. It's like someone is moving our fleet apart piece by piece." Kate walked to the star map display. Red dots showed the positions of human ships throughout the galaxy. The aide was right. Their vessels were being spread thin and isolated from each other. Meanwhile, alien ships were grouping together in defensive formations. "Get me Captain Morrison on the Terra's Pride," Kate ordered. A few minutes later, Jake Morrison's face appeared on the screen. He looked worried. "Admiral, something's not right," Jake said immediately. "My ship has been moved 3 times in the past week. Each time we're sent further from other human vessels, and my engineer found something disturbing." "What did she find?" "Modified communication arrays. Someone has been monitoring all our transmissions. The modifications look like Aquilian technology." Kate felt cold fear growing in her stomach. First, the Zephyrians were secretly watching colonies. Now the Aquilians were monitoring fleet communications. Her most trusted allies were spying on humanity. "Admiral, there's something else," Jake continued. "Lieutenant Foster detected power surges in our weapon systems. Someone has installed remote access points. If they wanted to, they could disable our weapons from outside the ship." The fear in Kate's stomach turned to ice. Remote access to human weapons meant someone could turn off their defenses whenever they wanted. The humans would be helpless. "Jake, "Start quietly checking with other ship captains," Kate ordered. "See if they've noticed similar problems, but be careful how you communicate. If someone is monitoring us, we need to be smart about this." "Understood, Admiral." As the communication ended, Kate stared at the star map. The pattern was becoming clear. Human colonies were disappearing. Human ships were being isolated and monitored. Human weapons were being compromised. Either this was the biggest series of coincidences in galactic history, or humanity was being set up for something terrible. Kate had been a soldier too long to believe in coincidences. She walked to her private office and activated the most secure communication system on the ship. She needed to contact Earth immediately, but when she tried to send the message, the system gave her an error. "Communication blocked by Council security protocols," the computer announced. Kate tried again with different settings. Same error. She tried emergency channels, military frequencies, even commercial communication networks. Nothing worked. Someone had cut off all communication between the human fleet and Earth. The humans in space were now completely isolated from their homeworld. Kate realized with growing horror that they were trapped. Outside her window, alien ships moved in perfect formation around the Council station. For the first time in 5 years, those ships looked less like allies and more like predators circling their prey. The golden age of the Alliance was over. Kate just hoped she could figure out what was coming before it was too late to stop it. Dr. Ben Taylor worked late into the night in his laboratory. Something was very wrong with the research project, and he was determined to find out what. When Clickstar had restricted his access to human genetic data, Ben had started asking questions. The answers he was getting scared him. Ben had found a damaged Zephyrian data core in the storage room. It looked like it had been thrown away, but the memory chips were still working. Most scientists would have ignored it. Ben was not most scientists. He was curious about everything. It took him 6 hours to crack the encryption. What he found inside made him want to throw up. The files were research reports about something called Project Harvest. Ben read with growing horror as the documents explained the real purpose of humanity's membership in the Galactic Council. "Human specimens show exceptional genetic diversity," one report said. "Adaptation rate exceeds all previous subjects by 340%. Reproductive potential suitable for large-scale breeding programs. Recommend immediate implementation of containment protocols." Ben's hands shook as he read more. The files talked about humans like they were laboratory animals. There were detailed studies of human biology, psychology, and social structure. Every piece of information gathered over 5 years of friendship and cooperation. But the worst part was the section labeled Historical Precedent. Ben discovered that humanity was not the first species to be invited into the Galactic Council, under false pretenses. 7 other civilizations had been given the same honor over the past 1,000,000 years. The Kethrin had been spacefaring traders with remarkable mathematical abilities. The Council invited them to join and help improve galactic commerce. Within 10 years, every Kethrin was gone. Their mathematical knowledge became property of the Council species. The Molari had been excellent engineers who could build machines that lasted for centuries. The Council welcomed them as valued members. 20 years later, no Molari remained. But their engineering techniques were used throughout Council space. 5 other species had suffered the same fate. Each had something the Council wanted. Each had been welcomed as equals. Each had been completely destroyed once their useful traits were stolen. Ben realized that humans were just the latest victims in an ancient pattern. The Council did not want allies. They wanted resources. And humans were the most valuable resource they had ever found. The files explained why. Most alien species had stopped evolving millions of years ago. They lived so long and changed so slowly that their genetics had become fixed. They could not adapt to new environments or develop new abilities. They were slowly dying as species. But humans were different. Humans evolved quickly. They adapted to any environment. They created new technologies and new ideas constantly. They were like a fountain of genetic and intellectual wealth that never ran dry. The Council planned to use that wealth. They would breed humans in controlled environments. They would study human genetics and copy useful traits. They would harvest human creativity and problem-solving abilities. And they would do it for as long as humans existed. Ben found shipping records that made his blood run cold. The missing colonists had not been killed. They had been transported to secret research facilities throughout Council space. Thousands of humans were already being held in these hidden laboratories. The worst part was the timeline. Project Harvest was scheduled to begin in full within the next week. Every human ship would be disabled. Every human settlement would be raided. Every human in the galaxy would be captured for the breeding and research programs. Ben knew he had to warn someone immediately, but when he tried to send a message to Admiral Phillips, the system blocked him. When he tried to contact Earth, he got the same error. All human communications had been cut off. He was trapped on the Council station with no way to warn his people. But Ben Taylor was a smart man. If he could not send a message electronically, he would have to deliver it in person. Ben gathered all the evidence he could carry and headed for the shuttle bay. He needed to reach Admiral Phillips before it was too late. But as he walked through the station corridors, Ben noticed things that made him even more afraid. Alien security teams were moving through the human sections. They carried strange devices that looked like stunners. And they were asking about the location of every human on the station. Ben ducked into a maintenance tunnel just as a group of Vorthon soldiers walked past. He heard them talking in their own language. Ben had learned some Vorthon words during his research. All human specimens must be secured before the operation begins, one soldier said. None can be allowed to escape or send warnings. What about the ones who resist? Another asked. Stun them if possible. Kill them if necessary. But the genetic samples must be preserved. Ben felt sick. The aliens were not just planning to capture humans. They were planning to do it right now. Tonight. He crawled through the maintenance tunnels toward the shuttle bay. But when he got there, he saw Aquilian guards at every entrance. No one was getting in or out without authorization. Ben was trapped, but he was not alone. Commander Ryan Brooks had just returned from investigating the missing colonies. His ship, the New Frontier, was docked at the station for refueling. When Ryan tried to report his findings to Admiral Phillips, he discovered that all communication with the human fleet had been blocked. Ryan was suspicious enough to start looking around. The station. What he saw confirmed his worst fears. Alien security teams were moving through every section where humans lived and worked. They were not providing security. They were hunting. Ryan found Dr. Taylor hiding in a storage room near the shuttle bay. The scientist looked terrified, but also angry. They're going to take us all, Ben whispered. I found the files. This whole alliance was a trick. They want to use us for experiments. Ryan's face went hard. How many humans are on this station? About 200. Scientists, diplomats, engineers, trade representatives. And how many alien security forces? Ben checked his scanner. At least 1,000. Maybe more coming, Ryan thought quickly. 200 humans against 1,000 alien soldiers. Not good odds. But Ryan was a military officer. He knew that sometimes bad odds were all you had. "We need to warn the others," Ryan said. "And we need to get off this station." "The shuttle bay is guarded," Ben said. "Then we make our own exit." Ryan led Ben through the maintenance tunnels to the docking bay where the new frontier was berthed. His ship was small, but it was fast and well armed. If they could reach it, they might have a chance. But as they approached the docking bay, they heard sounds of fighting, human voices shouting, alien weapons firing. The roundup had already begun. Through a ventilation grate, they could see the main corridor. Ambassador Lisa Carter was being dragged away by Zephyrian soldiers. She was unconscious, probably stunned. Other humans were being herded into groups like cattle. "We're too late," Ben whispered. But Ryan was not giving up. "No, we're going to save as many as we can." Ryan pulled out his sidearm and checked the charge. It was a small weapon compared to alien military equipment, but it was better than nothing. He looked at Ben. "Stay close and do exactly what I say. We're going to fight our way to my ship." Ben nodded. He was scared, but he was also angry. The aliens had lied to him for 3 years. They had pretended to be his friends while planning to cage him like an animal. That made him mad enough to fight back. Ryan kicked open the ventilation grate and rolled out into the corridor. His weapon fired quickly and accurately. 2 Aquilian guards dropped before they knew what hit them. "Run!" Ryan shouted. Ben ran. Behind them, alien voices shouted warnings. Weapons fire lit up the corridor. But Ryan was a good soldier and a better shot. He kept the aliens back long enough for them to reach the docking bay. The new frontier sat in its berth, engines cold, but ready. Ryan and Ben ran up the loading ramp as alien security forces poured into the bay. "Get to the bridge!" Ryan ordered. "Start the launch sequence!" Ben had never flown a spaceship, but he had watched the procedures many times. His hands moved over. The controls as Ryan sealed the ship and activated the weapons. "Launch clearance denied," the station computer announced. "Return to docking position immediately." "Clearance denied," Ryan said grimly. He fired the ship's engines at full power. The new frontier tore away from the docking clamps and shot out of the station. Behind them, alien ships were already moving to intercept. But Ryan's ship was fast, and he knew how to fly it. "Where are we going?" Ben asked. "To warn Admiral Phillips," Ryan said. "If we can reach her, maybe we can save the rest of our people." But as the new frontier raced toward the human fleet, both men knew they might already be too late. The trap had been sprung. The aliens had shown their true nature. And humanity was about to learn the price of trusting the wrong people. The Golden Age was over. The war for human survival was about to begin. Admiral Kate Phillips stood on the bridge of humanity's sword, watching what should have been a celebration. The Council had declared today Friendship Day to honor 5 years of human-alien cooperation. Ships from every species formed a massive parade formation around the Council station. But Kate was not feeling friendly. Too many strange things had been happening. Missing colonies, blocked communications, human ships being isolated from each other. Her military instincts told her something was very wrong. "Admiral, incoming message from the new frontier," reported Communications Officer Alex Turner. He was a young man with sharp eyes who never missed important details. "Put it through." Commander Ryan Brooks appeared on the screen. His face was pale and his uniform was torn. Behind him, Dr. Ben Taylor worked frantically at a computer console. "Admiral, get your ships out of there right now," Ryan said urgently. "It's a trap. The whole alliance is a lie. They're planning to capture all of us." Kate felt her blood turn to ice. Explain quickly. The missing colonies were harvested for research, Ryan said. Dr. Taylor found the files. Humans are being bred and studied like laboratory animals. The Council has been planning this for years. Before Kate could respond, alarms started ringing throughout her ship. Lieutenant Foster's voice came over the comm system. Admiral, alien ships are powering weapons. All Council vessels are targeting human ships. Kate looked at her tactical display. The friendly parade formation had suddenly become a trap. Human. Ships were scattered throughout the alien fleet, isolated and surrounded. Each human vessel was outnumbered 10-1. All human ships, this is Admiral Phillips, Kate broadcast on emergency frequencies. Break formation immediately. Evasive. Maneuvers. Prepare for combat. But as human ships tried to move, something terrible happened. Many of them simply stopped. Their engines went dead. Their weapons powered down. Their shields collapsed. Admiral, we've lost control of primary systems, reported Captain Morrison from the Terra's Pride. His voice was tight with fear. Something is overriding our computers. Kate realized with horror that the remote access points her ships had discovered were being activated. The aliens could control human vessels from a distance. Most of the human fleet was now helpless. All ships switch. To manual control, Kate ordered. Emergency protocols. Disconnect all automated systems. Some ships managed to comply. But others were already surrounded by alien vessels. Boarding pods launched from Zephyrian ships. Vorthon cruisers used tractor beams to hold human vessels in place. Aquilian destroyers targeted any ship that tried to fight back. Captain Jake Morrison watched in helpless rage as alien soldiers boarded his ship. Lieutenant Foster had managed to switch to manual control, but it was too late. The Terra's Pride was surrounded. Captain, they're cutting through the hull on Deck 7, Foster reported. Boarding parties are coming in. Jake drew his sidearm. All crew, repel boarders, fight for your lives. But the alien soldiers were ready for resistance. They carried advanced weapons and body armor. Worse, they seemed to know exactly where every human would be. They had studied human ships for years. The battle for Terra's Pride was short and brutal. Human crew members fought bravely, but they were outnumbered and outgunned. One by one, they fell to alien stunners. Jake made his last stand on the bridge. As Zephyrian soldiers surrounded him, he activated the ship's self-destruct sequence. But even that had been compromised. The aliens had disabled the self-destruct systems along with everything else. You fought well, Captain Morrison, said the lead Zephyrian soldier. Your resistance will be studied. Your tactics will be analyzed. Your crew will contribute much to our research. Jake spat in the alien's face. You won't get away with this. Earth will know what you've done. Earth will know nothing, the Zephyrian replied. They will receive reports of a tragic accident, a misunderstanding that led to regrettable casualties. By the time they learn the truth, it will be too late. Jake was stunned, unconscious. Around the galaxy, similar scenes played out on dozens of human ships. The Council's trap was working perfectly, but not every human ship was caught. Admiral Phillips had been suspicious enough to keep her own vessel on full manual control. When the attacks began, humanity's sword was ready to fight back. Her engines roared to life as she accelerated away from the alien fleet. All working human ships, form up on my position, Kate broadcast. We're getting out of here. 7 human vessels managed to break free from the trap. They were damaged and outnumbered, but they could still fight. Kate led them in a desperate running battle away from the Council station. Alien ships pursued them, but Kate was an experienced admiral. She used every trick she knew to keep her small fleet alive. They jumped between asteroids, hid behind planets, and used gravity wells to slingshot away from their enemies. "Admiral, we're receiving a transmission from the Council station," reported. "Turner, put it through." Council Speaker Vorthan appeared on the screen. The tall Vorthan looked calm and satisfied. "Admiral Phillips, please return to the station immediately. There has been a tragic misunderstanding." "Misunderstanding?" Kate's voice was full of rage. "You attacked our ships! You captured our people!" "I regret the confusion," Vorthun said smoothly. "There was a communication error that led to defensive responses. If you return now, we can resolve this peacefully." Kate laughed bitterly. "Do you think I'm stupid? I know what you're really doing. You want to capture us for your experiments." Vorthun's expression did not change. "Admiral, you are clearly under stress. Perhaps the isolation of space has affected your judgment. Return to the station for medical evaluation." "Go to hell," Kate said, and cut the transmission. But even as her ships escaped, Kate knew the truth was worse than Vorthun admitted. The Council was not just planning to capture a few human ships. They were planning to eliminate humanity as a free species entirely. The proof came an hour later when Council ships broadcast their official report to the galaxy. According to the announcement, human ships had suffered catastrophic system failures during routine maneuvers. The failures had caused explosions and hull breaches. Most human vessels had been destroyed. The few survivors were being treated in Council medical facilities. It was a perfect cover story. To the rest of the galaxy, humanity had simply suffered a terrible accident. No one would ask questions about the survivors. No one would investigate what happened to them. Commander Brooks and Dr. Taylor reached Admiral Phillips just as the broadcast ended. Their small ship docked with humanity's sword under heavy guard. "How many ships did we lose?" Ryan asked when he reached the bridge. Kate's face was grim. 43 vessels captured or destroyed, about 15,000 crew members taken prisoner. We have 7 ships and maybe 3,000 people total. The numbers hit everyone like a physical blow. In one day, the human presence in space had been reduced to almost nothing. Thousands of their friends and family members were now prisoners, of the aliens they had trusted. "There's more bad news," Dr. Taylor said quietly. "The research facilities I found in the files. They're not just holding the missing colonists. They've been secretly capturing humans for years. There could be hundreds of thousands of our people in those hidden prisons." Kate felt sick. The scope of the betrayal was beyond anything she had imagined. For years, humans had disappeared while traveling between systems. Pirates, they had been told. Equipment failures, navigation errors. Now she knew the truth. The Council had been hunting humans all along. "Admiral, we're getting signals from other human settlements," Turner reported. "Colony worlds are under attack. Council ships are landing and demanding surrender." Kate closed her eyes. It was not just the fleet that was being targeted. Every human settlement in the galaxy was being raided at the same time. The Council was making sure no humans escaped their net. "Can we warn Earth?" she asked. "Negative. All communication channels are still blocked. Earth won't know what happened until it's too late." Kate opened her eyes and looked at her remaining officers. 7 ships against the entire Galactic Council. 3,000 humans against trillions of aliens. It seemed hopeless, but Kate Phillips had not survived 30 years in space by giving up when things looked bad. She turned to her crew with fire in her eyes. "Listen to me," she said. "They think they've won. They think we're broken. They're wrong. We're not victims. We're not lab animals. We're human beings, and we don't surrender." The crew straightened up. They had lost ships and friends, but they had not lost their spirit. "Set. Course for the outer rim," Kate ordered. "We're going to disappear for a while. We're going to learn everything we can about our enemies, and then we're going to make them pay for what they've done." As humanity's sword and its small escort fleet vanished into the darkness between stars, the galaxy settled into an uneasy peace. According to official reports, the human problem had been solved. There would be no more unpredictable humans disrupting Council plans. But the Council had made one crucial mistake. They had studied human biology and psychology, but they had never truly understood the human spirit. They thought they could break humanity with one decisive blow. They were about to learn how wrong they were. 6 months had passed since the betrayal. Captain Alex Turner crouched in the shadows of an asteroid mining station, watching alien patrol ships search for human survivors. His team of 12 fighters waited silently behind him. They had learned to be very quiet and very patient. Alex was a different man than he had been 6 months ago. Then, he had been a merchant captain hauling cargo between peaceful worlds. Now he was a resistance leader hiding in the dark spaces between stars. The Council had made him into something they would regret. "Patrol ship is moving away," whispered Sergeant Amy Clark through his earpiece. She was positioned on the other side of the station with her sniper rifle. "You have a clear path to the entrance." Alex signaled his team forward. They moved like ghosts through the abandoned mining tunnels. This station had been built by humans years ago, but the Council had ordered it evacuated after the tragic fleet accident. Now it served as a perfect hiding place for the resistance. The human survivors had learned many things in 6 months of running and hiding. They had learned to scavenge supplies from wrecked ships. They had learned to modify alien technology for their own use. Most importantly, they had learned to hurt their enemies in ways the aliens never expected. "Command post is secure," Alex reported into his comm unit. "Beginning supply transfer." Deep in the asteroid, Admiral Kate Phillips received the message with satisfaction. Her hidden base was growing stronger every day. The main cavern now held workshops, medical facilities, and housing for nearly 500 survivors. They had rescued people from all over the galaxy and brought them here. Kate walked through the workshop where Lieutenant Mary Foster was working on captured alien weapons. The young engineer had become an expert at turning Council technology against its makers. "How are the modifications coming?" Kate asked. Mary looked up from a Zephyrian plasma rifle. "Better than expected. Their security systems assume only they would use these weapons. Once we bypass the genetic locks, they work perfectly for humans." "And the new project?" Mary smiled grimly. "Come see for yourself." She led Kate to a large chamber where dozens of humans worked on something that looked like a spaceship. But it was unlike any ship Kate had ever seen. The hull was made from salvaged Council materials. The weapons were modified alien systems. The engines used human innovation combined with alien technology. "We call her the Revenge," Mary said. "She's fast, heavily armed, and completely invisible to Council sensors. We've built 12 of them so far." Kate was impressed. In 6 months, her people had gone from helpless victims to dangerous fighters. The Council thought they had broken humanity. Instead, they had made humans stronger. "Admiral, we have a visitor," reported Commander Emma Hayes over the comm system. She was Kate's intelligence chief, a smart woman who had once been a diplomat. Now she specialized in gathering information about Council activities. Kate returned to the command center to find Dr. Ben Taylor waiting with a stranger. The stranger was a Zephyrian, but something was different about it. This alien looked nervous and afraid. "Admiral Phillips," Ben said, "I'd like you to meet Clickstar, my former research partner." Kate's hand moved to her weapon. "You brought a council spy into our base?" "Wait," Ben said quickly. "Clickstar contacted me. It wants to help us." The Zephyrian stepped forward carefully. "Admiral Phillips, I know you have no reason to trust me, but not all council members supported what was done to your people." Kate studied the alien carefully. "Then why didn't you stop it?" "We tried," Clickstar said. "There is a faction within the council that opposed Project Harvest. But we were outnumbered. The decision was made in secret by the Inner Circle." The Inner Circle? The true rulers of the council. They are the oldest and most powerful members of each species. They make all important decisions. They decided that humanity was too dangerous to remain free. Kate frowned. Dangerous how? Clickstar's mandibles clicked nervously. "Your species evolves too quickly. You create new technologies too fast. You adapt to any situation. The Inner Circle fears that humans will eventually surpass all other species, so they decided to cage us before we could become a threat." Yes, but their plan has a fatal flaw. The genetic harvesting process is not working as expected. Dr. Taylor leaned forward. "What kind of flaw?" "The council species have been artificially enhanced for millions of years," Clickstar explained. "We have forgotten how to evolve naturally. Our genetics are failing. We need fresh DNA from naturally evolving species to survive." "But humans aren't cooperating," Ben said with satisfaction. "Exactly. Human prisoners refuse to breed in captivity. They resist the genetic extraction procedures. Many have died rather than submit. The council expected to harvest thousands of genetic samples by now. Instead, they have obtained very few." Kate felt a surge of pride. Even in captivity, humans were fighting back. "How many of our people are still alive in the research facilities?" "Perhaps 60% of those captured. About 40,000 individuals scattered across 12 hidden stations." The number hit Kate like a punch. 40,000 humans still alive, but trapped in alien laboratories. She had to find a way to save them. "There is more," Clickstar continued. "The Inner Circle is growing desperate. They plan to raid Earth itself within the next few months. They want to capture millions of humans for breeding programs." Kate's blood ran cold. Earth had no idea what was coming. The homeworld thought the fleet had been destroyed in an accident. They would never see the attack coming. "We have to warn them," Kate said. "Impossible," Commander Hayes said. "Council ships still block all communication with Earth. Any message we send will be intercepted." Kate thought hard. There had to be a way to get word to Earth. But first, she needed to know more about the Council's plans. "Clickstar, what can you tell us about the research facilities? Locations, defenses, security procedures?" The Zephyrian hesitated. "Helping you would be considered treason by the Council. If I am discovered, I will be executed. Your people are already executing mine," Kate said coldly. "The only question is whether you're going to help us stop it." Clickstar was quiet for a long moment. Then it made a decision that would change everything. "The primary research facility is hidden in the Kepler 186 system," it said. 10,000 human prisoners are held there. The security is heavy, but not designed to stop an inside attack. Kate looked at her officers. The same thought was in everyone's mind. A rescue mission would be incredibly dangerous, but they could not leave their people in alien hands. How many ships would we need? Kate asked. 6 of your new vessels should be sufficient, Clickstar said, but you would need someone with council authorization codes to get past the outer defenses. You, if you will trust me. Kate studied the alien carefully. Trusting any council member seemed insane after what had happened. But sometimes insane risks were the only option. Why are you helping us? She asked. Clickstar's mandibles clicked sadly. Because I worked with humans for 3 years. I saw how you think, how you create, how you care for each other. What the council is doing is wrong. Your species deserves to remain free. Kate made her decision. Dr. Taylor, is this alien telling the truth? Ben nodded. Clickstar always treated me as an equal. It never acted like the other council members. I think we can trust it. Then we're going to plan a rescue mission, Kate said. And after that, we're going to find a way to warn Earth. As her officers began planning the most dangerous operation in human history, Kate felt something she had not felt in months. Hope. They were no longer just hiding and surviving. They were about to fight back. The Council had made humans into prey, but they had forgotten an important fact about human nature. When humans were cornered and desperate, they became the most dangerous predators in the galaxy. The Resistance was about to remind the Council of that lesson, and the first reminder would be written in fire across the stars. Admiral Kate Phillips stood in the command center of her hidden base, watching the holographic display that showed their growing fleet. In 6 months, they had gone from 7 damaged ships to 35 new vessels built from salvaged materials and human ingenuity. Admiral, Captain Turner is reporting in from the Kepler rescue mission, Commander Emma Hayes announced. Kate turned to the communications station. Alex Turner's face appeared on the screen, and he was smiling. Behind him, Kate could see crowds of rescued humans celebrating their freedom. Mission successful, Admiral, Alex reported. We pulled 8,000 people out of that hell. The facility is completely destroyed. Kate felt relief wash over her. The rescue of the Kepler 186 research facility had been their biggest operation yet. But it was also the most important. Those 8,000 survivors would more than double their fighting force. Any casualties? Kate asked. 12 wounded, none dead. The aliens never expected an attack from inside their own security network. Clickstar's access codes worked perfectly. Kate looked across the command center at the Zephyrian. Over the past month, Clickstar had proven its loyalty by helping them rescue thousands of human prisoners. But Kate knew some of her people still did not trust their alien ally. What about enemy casualties? Kate asked. Alex's smile faded. Heavy. The research. Staff tried to execute the prisoners when they realized they were losing. We had to stop them. Kate nodded grimly. The Council scientists had shown no mercy to human prisoners. They deserved none in return. Bring our people home, Alex. We have bigger operations to plan. As the communication ended, Kate turned to her senior staff. Dr. Ben Taylor was working on something he called a revelation virus. Lieutenant Mary Foster had finished designs for a new class of warship. Commander Hayes had been mapping Council defenses throughout the galaxy, but their most important work was being done by Captain Jake Morrison. Kate had thought he was dead until Alex rescued him from a prison ship 2 months ago. Now Jake was, leading their most crucial project. Jake, show me what you found, Kate said. Jake activated a holographic star map. Red dots showed the locations of Council military bases. Blue dots marked major population centers. Green dots indicated the remaining research facilities where humans were still imprisoned. "We've identified 17 more research sites," Jake said. "Total estimated prisoners, 32,000. But that's not the worst part." The display changed to show a massive fleet of ships gathering near the galactic core. "Council forces are assembling for something big," Jake continued. "Intelligence suggests they're preparing to attack Earth within the next month." Kate felt cold fear grip her heart. Earth had no idea what was coming. The home world still believed the human fleet had been destroyed in an accident. They would never see the attack coming. "How many ships?" Kate asked. "At least 2,000 vessels. Enough to overwhelm Earth's defenses and capture the entire population." The number was staggering. Earth had maybe 50 military ships and a few hundred civilian vessels. Against 2,000 Council warships, they would last minutes. "We have to warn them," Kate said. "I've been working on that problem," Dr. Taylor said. He activated his own display, showing a complex computer virus. "This is my Revelation program. If we can get it into the Council's communication network, it will spread to every system in the galaxy." "What will it do?" "Tell the truth. The virus will broadcast everything we know about Project Harvest. Every species in Council space will learn what really happened to humanity. They'll see the evidence of the research facilities, the genetic experiments, the planned attack on Earth." Kate studied the program. "Will it work?" "The code is solid, but we need to inject it directly into a major Council communication hub. That means attacking one of their most heavily defended installations." "Which one?" Commander Hayes pointed to a location on the star map. "The Vorthal Nexus. It's the primary communication relay for the entire Council network. If we can get the virus into that system, it will reach every world in the galaxy within hours." Kate looked at the target. The Vorthal Nexus was located in the heart of Council space, surrounded by military bases and patrol fleets. It would be like attacking the most secure fortress in the galaxy. "How many ships would we need?" she asked. "All of them," Mary Foster said. "And even then, it would be a suicide mission. The defenses are too strong." Kate was quiet for a moment. 35 ships against the entire Council military. It was hopeless. But sometimes hopeless missions were the only option. "There's, another problem," Jake said. "Even if we succeed in warning the galaxy, Earth will still be defenseless. Our revelations won't stop the attack fleet." Kate walked to the viewport and stared out at the stars. Somewhere out there, billions of humans lived their lives unaware that death was coming for them. She had sworn an oath to protect humanity. That oath had never been more important. "How long would it take us to reach Earth?" she asked. 3 weeks at maximum speed," Hayes replied. "But the Council fleet will be there in 4 weeks. We'd barely have time to warn them before the attack begins." "And if we split our forces? Half our ships to warn the galaxy, half to defend Earth. Both missions would probably fail." Kate closed her eyes and thought hard. There had to be a way to save both Earth and expose the Council's crimes. But she could not see how. "Admiral," a new voice said. Kate turned to see Clixatar approaching. The Zephyrian had been listening to their conversation. "What is it?" Kate asked. "There may be another option. The faction of Council members who oppose Project Harvest. We are small, but we exist on every major world. If your Revelation virus works, it could turn the entire galaxy against the inner circle. How does that help us reach Earth in time? Some of us have access to Council ships. If we coordinate the attack properly, we might be able to delay or even stop the Earth assault fleet." Kate stared at the alien. "You're talking about civil war." Yes. But it may be the only way to save your species. Kate looked around at her officers. They were all thinking the same thing. A council civil war would be devastating. Millions of aliens would die, but billions of humans would live. What would you need from us? Kate asked. The virus program and proof of the research facilities. If other council members see the evidence, many will join our cause. Dr. Taylor stepped forward. I can modify the virus to include all our intelligence files, documentation, video records, testimony from rescued prisoners. Everything. How long? Kate asked. 48 hours. Kate made her decision. Do it, and prepare all ships for departure. We're going to hit the Vorthal Nexus with everything we have. Admiral, Mary Foster said, that's still a suicide mission. Maybe, but sometimes you have to take suicide missions to save the people you love. Kate looked around at her officers. These were good people who had lost everything to council betrayal. They deserved better than to die in a hopeless attack, but they also deserved the chance to strike back at their enemies. I won't order anyone to come with me, Kate said. This mission is voluntary. Anyone who wants to stay behind can help establish new hidden bases. Jake Morrison stepped forward. Admiral, with respect, that's the stupidest thing you've ever said. We're all coming. One by one, every officer in the room nodded agreement. They had been through too much together to abandon each other now. All right then, Kate said. We have 2 days to prepare. Mary, I want every ship armed with the heaviest weapons we can build. Emma, coordinate with Clickstar to contact the Resistance faction. Ben, finish that virus and make sure it can't be stopped once it starts spreading. As her officers hurried to their tasks, Kate remained at the viewport. In 48 hours, they would either save humanity or die trying. Either way, the galaxy was about to learn that humans did not surrender easily. The Council had made them into prey. But they had forgotten something important about human nature. When humans were cornered, they became the most dangerous hunters in the galaxy. The storm was about to break, and when it did, the Council would finally understand the price of betraying humanity. Captain Alex Turner sat in the pilot's seat of his ship, the Defiance, as the human fleet approached the Vorthal Nexus. Around him, 34 other vessels moved in perfect formation through the darkness of space. Each ship carried the hopes of humanity and the fury of the betrayed. All ships, this is Admiral Phillips. Kate's voice came through the communication system. In 5 minutes, we reach the point of no return. Remember why we're here. Remember what they did to our people. Remember that Earth is counting on us. Alex checked his weapons one more time. The Defiance was loaded with every destructive device Mary Foster could build. If they were going to die today, they would take a lot of enemies with them. Approaching the outer defense perimeter, reported Lieutenant Sam Mitchell from the sensor station. He was a young pilot who had lost his entire family in the initial betrayal. Council patrol ships are moving to intercept. Through the view screen, Alex could see the Vorthal Nexus. It was massive, a space station the size of a small moon surrounded by defensive platforms and patrol fleets. Getting to it would be like flying through hell. Execute Attack Plan Alpha, Admiral Phillips ordered. The human ships split into 3 groups. Alex led one group in a direct assault on the main defenses. Captain Morrison took another group to attack the communication arrays. Admiral Phillips led the 3rd group straight toward the central hub where Dr. Taylor waited with his revelation virus. The battle began with a storm of weapons fire. Council ships opened up with everything they had. The space around the Nexus lit up like a fireworks display as energy beams and missiles filled the void. But the humans were ready. Their ships moved like dancers, weaving between enemy fire with incredible skill. Mary Foster's modifications had made them faster and more maneuverable than anything the Council had ever seen. "Target the shield generators," Alex ordered his gunner. "Clear a path for the Admiral." The Defiants dove toward a massive defense platform. Enemy fire scorched their hull, but Alex kept flying. His weapons hammered the platform's shields until they collapsed. Then he poured fire into the generator itself until it exploded in a brilliant flash. Around the battlefield, other human ships fought with desperate courage. The New Hope rammed a Council cruiser when its weapons failed. The Freedom's Call used itself as a shield to protect damaged allies. The Liberty Bell fought 3 enemy ships at once and somehow survived, but they were taking heavy casualties. The Thunder Strike exploded when a Vorthon missile found its reactor. The Star Runner was captured when boarding parties overwhelmed its crew. The Pride of Earth went down fighting, taking 2 enemy ships with it. "Admiral, we're losing too many ships," Captain Morrison reported over the radio. "The defenses are too strong." "Stay on target," Kate replied. "We're almost through." Admiral, Phillips's flagship, Humanity's Sword, pushed deeper into the Nexus defenses. Her shields were failing and her hull was scarred by enemy fire, but she kept moving toward the central communication hub. On the bridge, Dr. Ben Taylor prepared his virus program for upload. The computer code that would tell the galaxy the truth about Project Harvest was ready to spread like wildfire through every communication network. 60 seconds to the upload point, Kate announced. But the Council forces were not giving up. A massive Aquilian dreadnought moved to block their path. The ship was 3 times larger than Humanity's Sword and armed with weapons that could destroy planets. "All remaining ships, concentrate fire on that dreadnought," Kate ordered. The surviving human vessels turned their weapons on the massive enemy ship, but their attacks barely scratched its armor. The dreadnought's return fire was devastating. 2 more human ships exploded under its assault. "Admiral, we can't break through," Morrison reported. "That thing is too big." Kate stared at the enemy ship blocking their path. They had come too far to fail now. Earth was counting on them. Every human prisoner in Council space was counting on them. "All ships, this is Admiral Phillips," she broadcast. "Ramming speed." "Admiral, no." Alex Turner's voice came through the radio. "There has to be another way." "There is no other way," Kate replied calmly. "Tell Earth what happened here. Tell them we died free." Humanity's Sword accelerated toward the dreadnought. Kate's ship was damaged and outgunned, but it was still fast. The collision would destroy both vessels, but it might create an opening for the others. But before Kate could complete her sacrifice, something unexpected happened. The dreadnought suddenly stopped firing. Its weapons powered down, its shields collapsed. "Admiral, this is Click-Star," came a voice from inside the enemy ship. "The Resistance faction has taken control of this vessel. The path is clear." Kate felt a surge of hope. Their alien ally had kept its promise. Council members who opposed Project Harvest were fighting back from within. "Dr. Taylor, upload the virus now," Kate ordered. Ben's fingers flew over his computer controls. The revelation. Virus shot out from Humanity's Sword and into the Nexus communication hub. Within seconds, it began spreading through the entire galactic network. On 1,000 worlds, the truth about Project Harvest began to appear on every screen and communication device. Images of human prisoners in research facilities, documents proving the Council's lies, video testimony from rescued survivors. The evidence was overwhelming and undeniable. The reaction was immediate and explosive. On Zephyrian colonies, protesters demanded the release of human prisoners. On Vorthan worlds, government officials resigned in shame. On Aquilian planets, riots broke out as citizens learned their leaders were kidnappers and murderers. But the most important reaction came from the Council fleet heading toward Earth. As ship after ship received the viral transmission, captains began to question their orders. Some refused to continue the mission. Others turned their weapons on ships. Still loyal to the inner circle, all human ships, this is Captain Turner, Alex broadcast to the galaxy. You now know the truth about what the Galactic Council did to our species. They betrayed us. They captured us. They tried to make us into laboratory animals. His voice carried across the stars to every inhabited world. But we survived. We fought back. We will never surrender. The message that followed was simple and terrifying. Council leaders, you have 72 hours to release every human prisoner and surrender yourselves for justice. If you refuse, we will come for you. And when we do, there will be nowhere in the galaxy for you to hide. On the Council homeworlds, the inner circle watched their empire crumble in real time. Species that had been allies for millions of years turned against each other. The carefully maintained order of galactic civilization collapsed in a matter of hours. Council Speaker Vorthun tried to address the crisis from his palace on the Vorthon homeworld. Citizens of the galaxy do not believe these human lies, he broadcast. This terrorist attack on our communication network is designed to create chaos, and his transmission was cut off as Vorthon security forces stormed his palace. Even his own people had turned against him. Similar scenes played out across Council space. The Zephyrian High Command was arrested by their own military. The Aquilian Trade Federation dissolved as its members fled into hiding. The Council government, that had ruled the galaxy for 1,000,000 years, collapsed in less than a day. But the humans were not finished. As the virus continued to spread, it carried one more message. This one was for any Council forces still loyal to the old regime. This is Admiral Kate Phillips of the Human Resistance Fleet. Her voice echoed across the galaxy. You wanted to study human adaptability. Congratulations. You succeeded. Now you know what humans become when you corner us and threaten our families. The final words of her message sent chills through every remaining Council loyalist. The galaxy is free now. Any attempt to rebuild your criminal empire will be met with total destruction. We are watching. We are waiting. And we will never forget what you did to us. As the human fleet began its journey home to Earth, leaving the burning wreckage of the Vorthal Nexus behind them, the galaxy settled into an uneasy new order. The age of Council domination was over. The age of human vigilance had begun. But for Admiral Phillips and her survivors, the war was not yet won. They still had to reach Earth before any remaining Council forces could attack their homeworld. The race was on, and the stakes had never been higher. The warning had been delivered. Now came the most important battle of all, the fight for humanity's future. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of his new flagship, the Retribution, as the human fleet approached Earth. It had been 3 weeks since their attack on the Vorthal Nexus, and the galaxy was still burning from the revelations they had unleashed. Sir, receiving transmissions from Earth Defense Command, reported Communications Officer Sam Mitchell. They're asking for identification and status report. Jake smiled grimly. Earth still had no idea what had happened to their lost fleet. The homeworld thought they were looking at ghost ships returning from the dead. This is Captain Morrison, formerly of the Terra's Pride, Jake broadcast. "We're coming home with friends and enemies. Prepare for immediate planetary defense. We may have council ships pursuing us." The response from Earth was immediate confusion. "Captain Morrison, you were reported killed 6 months ago. Please explain your status." Long story. Right now, you need to know that humanity is at war with the Galactic Council. They've been capturing and experimenting on our people for years. We escaped and fought back, but there may still be loyalist forces heading this way. On the surface of Earth, alarm sirens began wailing in every major city. The planet's small defense fleet scrambled to intercept what they thought might be an alien invasion. But as the human ships approached, Earth's sensors confirmed the impossible. These were indeed human vessels, but unlike any ships in their database. Admiral Kate Phillips had survived the battle at the Nexus, though her ship was badly damaged. She now commanded the fleet from a captured council cruiser that her people had renamed the Justice. As Earth grew larger on her view screen, she felt emotions she had not experienced in months: hope, relief, and the simple joy of coming home. But their arrival was not entirely peaceful. Long-range sensors detected a small fleet of council ships approaching Earth from a different direction. These were the last loyalists, ships that had refused to surrender even after the Revelation virus exposed their crimes. 15 council vessels, reported Lieutenant Mary Foster from the sensor station. "Looks like a mixed squadron, some from each major species. They're moving to intercept us before we reach Earth." Kate studied the tactical display. The council force was smaller than her fleet, but their ships were in better condition. Half of her vessels were damaged from the Nexus battle, and her crews were exhausted from weeks of constant fighting. "All ships, battle stations," Kate ordered. "This is our last fight. Let's make it count." The final battle for Earth began in the space between Mars and Jupiter. The two fleets met with explosive fury as months of anger and betrayal fueled the weapons on both sides. But this fight was different from all the others. As the human ships engaged the Council forces, they were joined by unexpected allies. Ships from the Resistance faction led by Clickstar arrived to help in the battle. Zephyrian vessels fought alongside human destroyers. Reformed Vorthon captains turned their weapons on their former comrades. "Admiral, this is Clickstar," came the familiar voice over the radio. "My people stand with humanity. The Council's crimes end today." The battle was fierce, but brief. The last Council loyalists fought with desperate courage, but they were outnumbered and outmaneuvered. One by one, their ships were destroyed or forced to surrender. The final enemy vessel was a massive Aquilian battleship commanded by High Admiral Zenthal, one of the architects of Project Harvest. As his ship burned around him, the alien leader sent one last transmission. "You think you have won, humans?" Zenthal's voice crackled through space. "But you have only delayed the inevitable. Your species is too dangerous to remain free. Others will come. Others will finish what we started." Captain Morrison's response was broadcast to the entire galaxy. "Let them come. We'll be ready." The Aquilian battleship exploded in a brilliant flash, taking the last of the old Council leadership with it. As the smoke cleared from the final battle, the human fleet approached Earth to a hero's welcome. But Kate Phillips knew their real work was just beginning. The Council Empire was broken, but millions of beings throughout the galaxy were now free for the first time in their lives. They needed help building new governments and new societies. More importantly, thousands of human prisoners were still held in research facilities throughout Council space. Every one of them had to be found and rescued. "Admiral, incoming transmission from Earth's president," reported the communications officer. President Maria Santos appeared on the main screen. She was a middle-aged woman with kind eyes that reflected both relief and determination. "Admiral Phillips, on behalf of all humanity, welcome home," the president said. "We've been monitoring the galactic transmissions for the past week. The whole planet knows what you and your people have accomplished." "Thank you, Madam President, but our mission isn't finished. We need to coordinate rescue operations for the remaining prisoners. Already in progress. We're launching the largest space fleet in human history. Every shipyard on Earth is working around the clock to build rescue vessels." Kate felt a surge of pride. Even after everything that had happened, Earth was not turning inward to protect itself. They were reaching out to save their scattered children among the stars. Over the following months, the rescue operation succeeded beyond anyone's hopes. Working with reformed council members and newly liberated species, human fleets found and freed every remaining prisoner. The hidden research facilities were destroyed. Their evil work ended forever. But perhaps the most important victory was not military. Dr. Ben Taylor's revelation virus had done more than expose the Council's crimes. It had awakened the galaxy's conscience. Species that had been passive subjects for millions of years began demanding freedom and self-determination. The rigid order of the old council gave way to a loose federation of free worlds. Each species governed itself according to its own values and traditions. Trade and diplomacy continued, but no single group could dominate the others. Humanity found itself in an unexpected position. They had become the guardians of galactic freedom, not through conquest, but through example. When disputes arose between species, they looked to human mediators. When new threats emerged, they called for human help. "We could have been friends," Ambassador Lisa Carter said as she addressed the new Galactic Assembly. She had been rescued from a research facility and now served as humanity's chief representative to the reformed government. "We wanted to be family," she continued. "You chose to make us your nightmare instead. But even after everything you did, we offer you the chance for redemption. We offer you the chance to be better than you were." Her final words echoed through the assembly hall and across the galaxy. "The universe is vast enough for all of us to be free. Help us keep it that way." The response was immediate and overwhelming. Species after species rose to pledge their support for the new order. The age of dominance and exploitation was over. The age of cooperation and mutual respect had begun. But humanity did not forget the lessons of their betrayal. They maintained strong defenses and kept watch along the galactic rim. Their message to any who might threaten the peace was simple and clear. "We are the guardians now. We are watching. We remember. And if you try to bring back the old ways of tyranny and oppression, you will face the full fury of free people everywhere." Captain Morrison, now promoted to admiral, commanded the frontier patrol fleets. His ships carried no flags of conquest, only the symbols of protection and vigilance. They were the sword and shield of freedom, ensuring that the Council's crimes could never be repeated. As the years passed, the galaxy settled into its new rhythm of freedom and cooperation. Former enemies became allies. Former subjects became partners. The vast expanse of space that had once been ruled by fear was now governed by hope. And on a small blue planet in an ordinary star system, humanity looked up at the stars with different eyes. They no longer saw the cosmos as a place of wonder and possibility alone. They saw it as a responsibility, a trust that had been given to them by the suffering of their own people and the courage of those who had fought to set things right. The galaxy was free. The humans would make sure it stayed that way. The story of humanity's betrayal and triumph became legend throughout the cosmos. It was told on 1,000 worlds in 100 different languages. But the message was always the same.